A technique only used once before at the Kaiser Permanente Children's Hospital of Los Angeles was used for the second time ever on a baby girl from Kern County, saving her life and setting a precedent for future cases like hers.
23 ABC's Eliza Navarro joins us this morning to share the story of a little warrior and the new path she's creating for future babies who are born just like her. Eliza?
That's right, Mike and Danielle. When Michelle Webb gave birth to Reagan at just 24 weeks into her pregnancy, doctors told her that her daughter would likely be deaf, blind, or may never be able to walk. But thanks to emerging new technology, Reagan is thriving at 18 months old and is paving the way for other babies who are born prematurely.
This sound. Hearing this sound means 18-month-old Reagan is alive. But the journey to bring her home wasn't easy. Michelle and Stephen Webb got married and knew immediately that they wanted to be parents. And in 2017, they got the good news.
With twins, I was just so ecstatic. I thought that life was giving me a gift.
Their joy was short-lived as doctors discovered at 18 weeks into her pregnancy that Michelle had incompetent cervix, which can lead to premature birth or the loss of an otherwise healthy pregnancy.
And at exactly 24 weeks, I delivered my little boy and girl. I mean, they were just so tiny. Reagan was 1 pound, 3 ounces, and her brother was 1 pound, 6 ounces.
Just 6 days after they were born, the Webb's little boy Logan didn't make it, but Reagan kept fighting.
She's stronger than I am. I mean, I look at her, I remember those moments looking at her in the PICU and the NICU, and like, I don't know how she was able to keep going.
While the Webbs had times when they lost hope.
She was dying little by little every single day. She was dying. She was getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Reagan's fight never wavered. At 2 months old, Reagan was diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension, meaning blood pressure was affecting the function of her lungs. And by month 4, she was transported from Bakersfield to the Kaiser Permanente Children's Hospital in Los Angeles.
And Reagan's chest was just sinking into her body. And one of the nurses says that her lungs are collapsing. And I turned to the doctor. I remember like, hey, doctor, can you save her? And he's like, no. I'm like, what? You can't save her? He's like, I can give her medicine to help her, but that's all we can do. We can just hope.
But the Webbs didn't settle on hope. They did some research of their own and found a protocol that helped a baby with a similar situation in Ohio.
It was surreal. I mean, because no one else heard about this protocol. No one else was doing it. It was just, it's like we were just screaming. We just wanted someone to listen to us.
That's when Dr. Eugene Sohn stepped in.
I'm looking through and I see, oh, this baby is very sick.
A pediatric pulmonologist at the hospital. He had researched the same protocol as the Webbs and agreed it was worth trying.
We were kind of on the same page about that. The parents were being really proactive for Reagan throughout her care all the time, but at that moment they were looking for anything different because kind of the standard techniques really weren't working.
It was a technique some doctors feared would kill Reagan, but to Dr. Sohn, it was the best chance at life.
This approach is using high pressures, so the reason we do that is because the premature baby's lungs, there are lots of different parts to the lungs in a sense. I mean, it's all one lung, but different parts of the lungs are affected to different degrees. So air is moving through the lungs at different speeds, and there's different levels of resistance to that airflow. So what we have to do is this approach is basically saying, okay, we're going to give them a long time to breathe in so that we can breathe in all parts of the lungs, or as many parts as we can, instead of just trying to get those little fast-moving parts and then neglecting the rest of the lung.
Reagan became just the second patient at the Kaiser Hospital in LA to ever be treated with the technique by Dr. Sohn, and the approach saved her life. After spending her first 18 months in the hospital, Reagan finally got to go home on April 8th.
You know, it's crazy because sometimes the worst days I had, she would somehow muster up some type of strength and prove me wrong. And I mean, yeah, we keep saying that she proved the doctors wrong, but she's proved me wrong as well.
Now this machine helps her breathe and allows her to do things that doctors never believed possible. And the baby that doctors feared would possibly be blind, deaf, or unable to walk is the most cheerful and active.
You're going from a baby who's struggling, struggling to breathe, struggling to stay alive, and then to later on, I mean, a baby who's just playing with things, grabbing at you, wants you to stay, using her feet to try and grab you if you're like a little farther away. It's just amazing. It's great. That's what we live for, honestly, is just to see kids get better like that.
As they adjust to their new lifestyle, the Webbs say they're grateful for the advancements in technology and are hoping sharing their story will inspire parents and save more lives of premature babies just like Reagan.
So I just want to give hope to families that it's such a hard journey, but it's so worth it. And just to be advocates for your children, because as parents, you're the best advocate and nobody knows your child like you do. And you just have to fight for them.
Reagan has been home for about a month now, and a new part of her journey is just beginning. Dr. Stone says the goal is to eventually remove the trachea tube, but for Reagan to breathe on her own. But for now, the Webbs and Dr. Stone are taking it day by day. You can also learn more about her journey and follow her journey by visiting our website, turnto23.com. In studio, I'm Eliza Navarro, 23ABC, connecting you.